Hi, today I'm going to show you a couple of tips about setting up designs as far as the spacing goes, but also what I do to offset some of my designs that are geometric that are also supposed to touch or not touch. It's just really some simple things that are available in Creative Studio for the Gamma Statler. I'm using Creative Studio 7, and so I'm going to just show you a couple tips. But this first part is all about spacing panographs before you, or quilting designs before you quilt them out. Often they come, vertical spacing is, it comes pretty big gap between the design when you just plug it into the computer. So it definitely helps if we can get the design smaller, but I do want you to be able to see it. There are many times though when I'll see a quilt quilted and there's a big enough gap like that you can see between the rows. And one of the goals with designs like this that rise and fall is they're supposed to nest really well, and so they really should be close enough that it looks like you cannot see the gap between the row. And I really like to try and get the spacing between here to be the spacing, similar spacing within that design. So I'm going to go a little bit more. That might be good. It's not going to be exact in all the spots, but looking at the spacing between here is similar here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'd probably quilt that out like it is. And obviously with other designs that are supposed to touch, you would want them to be right on. And there are so many things that throw designs off if a quilt is not piece straight or bulky seams, or if you have a batting bulge at the very top of the quilt and you roll it and you don't get that flat, that can throw off designs. A vertical seam in the back can throw off designs and really just mess everything up spacing wise and all that. And then of course as we mark and roll things, we can definitely be off on our marks. So the computer isn't perfect, but also there are definitely times when it's user error as well. So I'm going to open a new edge to edge and I want to show you, it's going to ask me to make the boundary first. I want to show you what I'm going to do for the quilt, the next quilt I'm going to do. I'm using, and that's a very crooked boundary, sorry. I'm going to use my On Point design. Okay, it's right here. Oh, it's asking me how long the quilt is. Just going to type in 80. So what happens is, I'm going to scroll in so you can see this. There's a gap between the rows. And if I change the vertical spacing, this would be on top of this line and it would quilt on the same line. And while that's not necessarily bad, if you can avoid it, that's great. So what I'm going to do, there's a great thing with Creative Studio. Right over here in the Set Repeat Rows, there's an alternating option right here. It says None, but I'm going to click on that and do plus row on top. And there we go. Now there's no spacing. Now they meet up perfect. So essentially it offsets it 50% doing that. So if a design is not designed at 50%, it's not going to be exact, and then you have to manually offset it. But if you look over here on the edge. It's obviously, you might wonder why there's a big gap right there and it's not matching up, because essentially it shifted the second row, all of the even rows, over one so that it would meet up the way that it needs to. And if I did minus row on top, it would do the exact opposite right here and right here. So all the even rows would be wider or shifted over. Another thing that I just learned and did on a recent client quilt is right here, I wanted to take this square and turn it into a diamond without having to digitize a new design, which I can do. If you're interested in that, I definitely can do that. Let me know. But right here, for the Gamma Statler in Creative Studio 7, you can unclick the maintain aspect right here in this pattern, set pattern size box. And what that's going to do is let you change the height of the design or the width of the design and change the shape of it. So there we go. That easy, we have diamonds. And it quilted out great that way. I didn't have any problem whatsoever. So I hope those tips are helpful. And let me know if you have any other questions. I do want to show you one other design that also needs to be offset at 50%, and that is, well, I can show you this one. This one's my diamond squared. So, oh, I double clicked. That's two designs together. That looks pretty cool. We'll take that one off. Okay. So here is my diamond squared, and obviously that would have a lot of negative space. So I'm going to put the plus row on top. I am going to fix that gap between the rows like we talked about before. And if I make the design a little smaller, maybe it will go faster. But just like that, it nests really well, and it should be ready to quilt out just like that. So anyway, and that also did the plus row is on top. The minus row is going to be all those even ones. So all those even rows throughout the rest of the quilt. So anyway, I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Also, another side note, this diamond squared and my marmalade and my on point designs are all available at Urban Elements. The diamond squared and my on point are also available on my website, quiltingit.com, and on the Creative Cloud for Gamma.